Please be aware, in this podcast series we talk about all areas of safeguarding, which some people may find upsetting. So please make sure you're okay listening to today's topic. Be mindful of those around you, such as children, that you might not want to listen in. Hi, I'm SSS Safeguarding Director Sam Preston.
And I'm former head teacher and content author Sarah Spinks.
Hello, and welcome to another SSS Learning Safeguarding Conversations podcast. Today we're focusing on the world of health and safety walks, and with me is our Safeguarding Director, Sam.
Hi Sarah, I'm pleased we're looking at this as health and safety walks are such an important part of school safety.
Absolutely. So Sam, for those who might not be familiar, can you start off by explaining what a health and safety walk is?
Yeah, sure. So a health and safety walk is essentially an inspection of the school site to ensure that all safety measures are working effectively and properly. So the idea is to identify risks and hazards in the environment and make sure that staff and pupils are protected. It's not just a one-time thing, it should be ongoing, conducted regularly.
Yeah, that really makes sense, actually. It's something we used to do very regularly at my school. But who actually carries out these walks? Is it just the site manager or does it involve more people?
That's a good question. Ideally, it should be a team effort, and that might change. And I would advocate that it is actually quite a good thing to have different people from different perspectives involved. So you might have the site manager involved for their practical insights, but have a designated governor or trustee for health and safety who will focus on the broader risks to the organisation. Teachers or staff, they can provide valuable input as they see the day-to-day challenges in classrooms and corridors.
Yeah, I think that's really important to highlight that collaborative approach. It makes sense to have different perspectives. So how do schools make sure that these walks are thorough?
Well, there's a health and safety checklist that really helps structure the process, and that's a guide to make sure nothing important is overlooked. And it covers areas like movement around the site, fire safety, working at height, and even furniture and fixtures.
Yeah, I understand that. That's interesting. So let's break that down a little bit. What do we mean by movement around the site?
Well, essentially, it's about making sure that things like corridors, classrooms and entryways, that they're safe and clear of anything really that could cause an accident. We'd look for things that could cause slips, trips or falls, like uneven flooring, trailing cables or cluttered gangways. We also check that ramps and stairs are secure and that lighting is adequate.
I think that's especially important, isn't it, during the winter months? We're in the winter months now and it gets darker earlier and we need to make sure that visibility is clear, don't we? Yeah.
Absolutely, Sarah. And poor lighting, that can be a big hazard, especially near exits and entrances.
Absolutely. You mentioned working at height. That sounds risky. What are the common issues there?
Well, believe it or not, it's things like teachers and staff using chairs to reach displays or storage. Schools should have proper equipment like step stools or ladders. And, the walk is also about identifying, are they provided? And if they're provided, are they being used? There's also the 4-to-1 ladder rule. So the ladder base should be 1/4 of the ladder's height away from the wall, for instance.
Oh, wow. I had no idea about that ratio. That's an interesting one. What about fire safety? What do we look for on these walks around fire?
Well, fire safety checks are crucial. We ensure that fire exits aren't blocked, that fire doors aren't propped open, and that evacuation procedures are clearly displayed. Firefighting equipment should also be in place, and of course we check that drills are conducted regularly.
And that reminds me, actually, I read about personal emergency egress plans, or PEEPs. Can you explain what those are, please?
Yeah, sure. PEEPs, they're evacuation plans for individuals who may need assistance. For example, children with mobility issues or staff perhaps with disabilities. It's also something that should be thought about for visitors to the school. So asking that question to make sure that if they do need any help getting out of the building in an emergency. So having those PEEPs in place, that ensures that no one is left behind during an emergency.
Yeah, that's a really important detail. What about asbestos? Now, that is a bit of a scary topic.
Well, it can be, but awareness and proper management are key. Listeners can find more information on our website about asbestos. That includes courses, and we've written articles about it. So some older buildings might contain asbestos in ceilings or walls. So the health and safety team needs to know where it is and ensure that there's no drilling or fixing of displays in those areas.
And imagine those asbestos checks are handled with extra care. So what happens if someone spots a hazard during a walk?
Yeah, good question. If a hazard is identified, it should be recorded immediately and the issue addressed as soon as possible. There's also space on the checklist to add further recommendations.
It sounds like a proactive way, really, to keep schools safe. I think it's really important. Is this checklist mandatory?
No, it's not mandatory, but it is strongly recommended. It's a tool that can be used at the start of each term or as part of ongoing reviews. Some schools prefer to have their own methods, and that's fine, as long as the key areas of health and safety are covered.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And for those who want to get more information, where should they look?
Well, the Health and Safety Executive, HSE, they've got a super website with lots of guidance for schools. The DFE also offers resources for schools in England, and there are dedicated pages for Wales and Scotland too. And of course, we have information on our website. We have courses. We actually have a course for conducting a health and safety walk available.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Thanks, Sam. It's been, a really important chat, this, because I think it's just one of those added things. As school leaders, you need to make sure that you are fulfilling, because it is a legal responsibility.
It is. And it's a little bit like when I talk about safeguarding, we're very good at thinking about how do we protect and keep the children safe? How do we protect and keep staff and adults safe? And also there's a duty to protect and keep the organisation, which is the school, safe. And so by doing this and preventing any type of accident is actually safeguarding all three.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So, listeners, start planning those walks.